WWE President Nick Khan has re-signed with the company up until 2030, but there is something really huge that has happened that is making everybody super angry. TKO's SEC filings today included the reveal that Nick Khan has re-signed with the WWE on May 4th to remain the president up until 2030. The contract notes that his base salary will be $2 million until the end of 2026, but then starting in 2027, Nick Khan will be given a $1 million raise. So what's the controversy? As the president of WWE, Nick Khan has one responsibility, and that is to make sure that the company is incredibly profitable. So when the company is short of being profitable, what do? They ask talent to cut 50% of their pay, and on top of that, they just release wrestlers regardless if they're on TV.
May 4th, 2026, Nick Khan signs a new contract. May 6th of 2026, TKO reports $1.6 billion in Q1 revenue for 2026. Same day, the contract hits the SEC filing. On the same week, wrestlers are being asked to take a 50% pay cuts. Let me ask you something. You run a company, you just had the best quarter in your history. $1.6 billion in 3 months. Your shareholders are probably celebrating. Your stock is climbing. But what do you do next? If your answer is demand the people who built it take half their salaries back, you might have a future in sports entertainment. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Tea Drop. Here's what we're covering today. And I need you to stay with me through all of it because this only makes sense as a complete picture. 1. TKO's Q1 2026 earning, the actual numbers, not what the press release says, what the SEC filing says. 2. Nick Khan's new contract and what it actually costs. 3. The math you weren't supposed to do. What do you mean? We'll talk about it. 4. The same week those numbers drop, what was happening to wrestlers in the locker room. And 5. With all of this tells us about the operating model TKO has been running since day one. So without further ado, let's get into it. May 6th of this year, TKO Group Holdings, parent company of WWE, UFC, and IMG, holds its Q1 earnings call. The headline number, $1.6 billion in revenue for one quarter, January through March. Which is crazy. And I'll share this if I can. Hang on. Boom. All right. Give me a second. I should have fixed this before. There we go. This was the TKO Group earning call. Anyway, these were the people that participated in the call. But anyway, for one quarter, January through March, that's up 26% year over year. In dollar terms, that's a gain of $328 million compared to the same period last year. Their net income, $249.8 million. Adjusted, they call it the EBITDA, which is, in simplest terms, the measure TKO prefers. It strips out taxes and accounting charges to show you the operating engine. $549.8 million, up 32%. Apparently at 34% margin. WWE alone generated $475 million in a 22% jump. Here is the line that tells you everything about the business model. Live events and hospitality revenue jumped 62% to $123.5 million. The driver, the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, held January 31st in Riyadh, the first time in history that event left North America in the King Abdullah Financial District. I apologize if I didn't say it correctly. In a purpose-built temporary outdoor stadium, the 14th WWE event held in Saudi Arabia since its joint efforts in 2018. TKO's terminology for what Saudi Arabia pays them is a financial incentive package. What that means in hosting fee, Wrestle Economics has estimated that a fee at roughly $50 to $55 million per event, and the Q1 data aligns with that estimate. And here's where it gets really interesting. That's just one event. In 2026, Saudi Arabia is scheduled to pay for 3 WWE events, so far confirmed. $165 million from Riyadh for the year. Media rights are climbing too. WWE's media revenue rose 12%. to $281 million in Q1. The Netflix deal, Raw 10 years, reportedly worth $5 billion, started in January of last year. The ESPN direct-to-consumer deal for premium live events, that started in September of last year. 5 years, 1.6 billion. TKO has reaffirmed its full year 2026 guidance, 5.6 billion to 5.7 billion in revenue, and they authorized up to 1 billion in share buybacks, buying back their own stock, which supported the share price. Now, have it here, probably don't, but one of the words that Ari Emanuel used on the earning call was historic. Write that word down. We're coming back to it. 2 days before that earning call, May 4th, our good old boy Nick Khan, president of WWE and director of TKO Group Holdings, signed a new contract. It was disclosed in TKO's quarterly filings with the Security and Exchange Commission on May 6th, the same filing that announced the record revenues for the previous year. Same document, just a different section. Here's what the contract says. They are the verified terms per the SEC filing. His base salary, $2 million through the end of 2026. Then, starting January 2027, he's getting $3 million per year through December 3rd, 2030, a 50% increase in his base salary alone. Annual bonus target for 2026 is probably going to be 150% of his base salary. That's $3 million in bonus potential on top of the $2 million base. Annual bonus target from 2027 through 2030, 200% of his base salary. That's $6 million per year in bonus potential on top of the the $3 million base he already signed up for. Signing equity award, he gets 11 million in restricted stock units vesting over 4 years. Annual equity grants 7.5 million for 2026, 8.5 million per year from 2027 forward. One-time performance incentive he received also for 5% million tied to Zuffa Boxing. That's what happened last year. So from 2027, if performance targets are met and TKO is projecting record revenue, so odds are they will be, Nick Khan's target total compensation is going to be 3 million base plus 6 million bonus plus 8.5 million in annual equity plus roughly 2.75 million per year in armorized RSU value from the signing grant. That is over 20 million per year for Nick Khan if it hits the target. And for context on what's already been happening at the top, TKO CEO Ari Emanuel 2025 total compensation is 67.4 million. That's base salary, cash bonus, stock awards, and incentive pay combined. Now let's do the math. Here's where it gets, as always, interesting. And I need you to pay attention to how this goes down. Nick Khan base salary raise, just the base, not the bonus, not the equity, in $1 million per year, 2 million going to 3 million. Now, what is the entry level salary for, I don't know, an NXT developmental talent? Fightful's reporting on WWE's pay structure, $60,000 to $150,000 per year is the range for developmental contracts. That is $1 million raise, just the base. That equals the annual cost of 16 to 17 NXT developmental contracts at the floor rate, or 6 to 7 contracts at the ceiling. That's not an opinion, it's just the math. Now let's go deeper. In April 2026, court filing from the WWE merger shareholder lawsuit, documents originally marked confidential revealed how WWE has historically compensated its talent. In 2022, WWE spent $195 million on all talent combined, main roster and developmental. That was approximately 15% of their $1.29 billion in revenue that year. Those same filing projected WWE will keep talent compensation at 15% of revenue through, we're at 2026. Can two things be right at the same time? Revenue growing at 26%, target talent percentage stays flat? Where in the hell does that math work for the people in the ring? The NFL pays players roughly 50% of design revenue. The NBA around 50%. The WNBA under their new CBA agreed to approximately 20%. No union, no collective bargaining, independent contractors who pay some of their travel. 1.6 billion in revenue for TKO. 165 million from Saudi Arabia alone for 2026. And of course, the Netflix deal, that is roughly 855 million earmarked for talent company-wide. But that's the total TKO figure including UFC. Now, watch what happens in the locker room. The same week TKO announced 1.6 billion in Q1 revenue, reports began surfacing from inside the locker room. TKO was approaching multiple talent, not one, not two, multiple, and asking them to restructure their contracts. The stated reason, per the reports, and I'm quoting directly, talent rate of production versus what they are being paid. Now, let me break that down, what that language means in commoner English, I guess. The rate of production versus pay is their corporate talk for, we think you're getting more than you're worth to us right now. Not the company can afford you. The company just announced a quarter that would make most Fortune 500 executives weep. So what are the numbers being discussed? Reports indicate pay cuts demands up to 50%. 50%. Some are reporting suggests that initially fewer than 6 talents were approached, but the pattern is being established, and these are happening while the company just authorized a $1 billion stock buyback. They have enough to buy back $1 billion of their own equity, but the conversation in the locker room is, take half of what we agreed to pay you or take your leave. There's also a secondary reason cited by another outlet. TKO is clearing off debt from Endeavor's prior financial structure. So some of this is also about cleaning up the books from a previous corporate era, not just about individual performer productivity. And in 2026, over 40 WWE talents have been released post-WrestleMania 42. The names so far: Aleister Black, Zelina Vega, Bo Dallas, Kairi Sane, Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, Dexter Lumis, Eric Rowan, the Motor City Machine Guns, Apollo Crews, Alba Fire, Andre Chase, and more. 40 people since January, while the company was having the best quarter in its history. Again, record revenue, executives pay raise, everyone in the executive getting a raise, but 1,000 worker cuts. Same fiscal year. Now I want to talk specifically about the New Day, because this story deserves a part of this chapter in this story. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. We talked about them before, but let's talk about it again. Two men who spent over a decade building one of the most successful factions in WWE history with Big E. 13 tag team championships, the most in company history. An 11-year run that went from a gospel gimmick people booed to a cultural phenomenon that saved WrestleMania 35. In 2025, Kofi and Xavier signed a new contract extension. Now, the Wrestling Observer stated that that deal ran through 2030. 5 years! They signed the deal in 2025. They were 1 year almost in. Then it was reported that WWE informed the duo they would essentially be cut, but offered them the chance to remain on reduced financial terms. Pay cuts. 1 year into their 5-year deal almost, and they just signed. And Kingston and Woods declined, rightfully so. The reports say they felt the company wasn't doing anything with them creatively. They didn't just reject the pay cut, they rejected the premise of staying somewhere that had no plans for them. Let me ask you something. In what world is we sign you to a 5-year deal? It's been less than 12 months. Now take less or go. Acceptable at all. In any other industry, that's a breach conversation. In wrestling, though, without a union, without collective bargaining, it's just Tuesday for them. The response from the wider wrestling world was immediate. AEW talent, the Young Bucks, FTR publicly welcomed the possibility of working with Kingston and Woods once their 90-day non-compete expires. But the New Day gave WWE everything. They gave them their creativity, their reinvention, their decade. And the response to record revenue was to offer them less. Check that behavior out of my list. That's all I've got on that. Now, if you watch wrestling content on YouTube, and I know you do because you're here, this block is for you. On May 8th of this year, literally 2 days ago, Fightful Select broke a story. As you know, WWE had launched a mass copyrights takedown campaign against streamers and content creators, reaction content, commentary videos, clips used for analysis, audio clips. And here's Fightful's exact language, and I'm going to read this verbatim. Regarding the takedown of streamers' clips by WWE, this is the most vast they've gone. Most vast they've gone. Fightful also learned the mechanism, a company called Stream Enforcement, using bots to automate mass copyright strikes across platforms. Bots automated industry-scale copyright enforcement. And here's the part that should make every creator on this platform stop and think for a minute. WWE has regularly used creators' reactions content in their own social media feeds, promos, so on and forth. All their promotional material. They benefited from the organic promotion. Then they send the bot to strike the same channel that produced it. Unfortunately, two things like this can be true at the same time. You can defend intellectual property, and you can recognize that using someone's reaction content for your own promotional benefit and then having a bot strike their channel is not a legal question. It's a character question. So in roughly an 18-day window, from April 24th to May 9th, mass talent release, pay cuts, demands of up to 50%, a record $1.6 billion quarter announced, an executive pay raise locked to 2030 with Nick Khan, and now creator copyright strikes. That's not a run on bad decisions. It's just now their operating model going forward. And here's where I stand on this, and we can strip it all down in the model of in a model of 4 pillars, and we'll go through each one. Pillar 1, revenue sources are locked and leveraged. Netflix, ESPN, Saudi Arabia, Paramount for UFC if you want to count them. These are multi-year, multi-billion-dollar deals that are not going anywhere. The revenue floor is higher than it's ever been for TKO. Pillar 2, executive compensation is indexed to that revenue. The better the company does by every financial metric, the more the executives make. The SEC filing proves this. Nick Khan's bonuses are tied to performance targets set by the board. Record revenue means record executive payouts. It doesn't mean people below the executives win. It means the executives win only. Pillar 3, talent compensation is capped at approximately 15% of revenue, a figure that has been in WWE's internal projections since at least 2023. And that's per some of the court documents that they're dealing with right now with the merger. And is targeted to hold through 2028. As revenue grows, the 15% grows nominally. But the percentage doesn't move. The gap between what's being made and what's being paid to the people making it grow wider every quarter doesn't compute. Pillar 4, talent who pushes back or whose character value doesn't justify their line item costs get asked to be restructured. If they say no, they get released or offered nothing and nudged towards the exit, as the New Day were. Shareholders get historic. The locker room gets restructuring. They told shareholders historic, they told the locker room restructuring, same email, different inbox. It's unfortunate, but it's a sad tea drop. The numbers are real. The SC filing are public. The court documents are in evidence. The contracts that were signed and then renegotiated, they happen to real people. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods gave this company about 11 years. They built something, and in the same 7 days, their former employer announced $1.6 billion in revenue. Those people were walking out the door with reduced offers and the suggestion to take it or leave it. Anyway, drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know, where do you think all of these wrestlers are going to land, if anything? And more importantly, does this operating model change how you watch the product going forward? Let me know below. Thanks for watching, and as always, if the tea hit right, hit the like and subscribe, even the hype, and I'll see you on the next one.